What's up, guys? It's John Dominique, the Soul Proponent. Today, I want to talk a little bit about trusting the unfoldment. I'm talking about allowing and accepting the process of spiritual awakening. And when I say unfoldment, it's kind of about the unraveling, the peeling back of the layers that we've built. Since we were children, we gathered these layers of defenses, mostly, in order to combat our vulnerability. We have this sense of innate, built-in trust as when we're children, when we're born into the world. We lose touch with this magic, this delight, this innocence as we grow older, as we become adults. You can remember, most people can remember a time, when they were children, where they didn't have a care in the world. And that's our natural state. It's a state of no fear. There's nothing there to threaten our wholeness, our oneness, our aliveness. We know inherently on an unconscious level that everything's going to be fine. There's a sense of basic trust. But we lose touch with that sense of basic trust because of disruptions in the environment. Things happen. That's a natural part of life. And when things happen, we have the opportunity to compare and contrast the good times with the bad times, the good things with the bad things, the good feelings with the bad feelings. And we're caught up in a cycle of judgment and only wanting what's good and wanting to disregard what's bad. And we lose the sense of basic trust. We lose touch with this as we grow older. Multiple events happen to us, and they accumulate. The effects of these events accumulate as we grow older, until eventually that sense of basic trust is disrupted entirely, and we lose touch with it altogether. And we don't know this, but as we live our lives, we're trying to get back to that sense of basic trust, to that sense of innocence, that state of magic and delight of the kingdom that we were so connected to when we were young and we were children. This is something that's not often talked about. It's not common knowledge, but on an unconscious level, every single one of us has some experience with this basic trust. We were all children at one point. So when I say trusting the unfoldment is going to bring us back to a state almost like of childhood. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't function in society as an adult. We'll still be able to, go to work, pay our bills, etc., etc. But what we're going to do when we trust the unfoldment is to see that that part of us is still there, still available. It didn't go away. We just lost touch with it because of the pressure to survive, basically. So the original innocence that we were born with is still there in our hearts. It's in our consciousness. It's in our awareness. But something became more important. Something took over. There was a new agenda. When we transitioned from childhood to adulthood, a new agenda takes over, and there's something more important. And it becomes, when we start to approach this idea of basic trust, we feel the sense of tenderness, of vulnerability. We feel like it's a matter of life and death sometimes, because it feels like our defenses are going to be gone. Basically, there's nothing to hold on to. There's no survival instinct that's there to protect you if something goes wrong. That's what it feels like. even though it's not true. Our defenses are still going to be there. They're not going to go away. But what we need to do is just be aware that that basic trust is still there and loosen our attachments to our defenses. So the ego identity builds from that transition from childhood to adulthood. It builds up all these layers of defenses to avoid whatever is painful in the environment, whatever events are going to happen. So things happen and we have all these defenses. We build one on top of another, and that becomes the layers that we need to peel back. And that's what I'm talking about when I say the unfoldment. It's an undoing, an unlearning, a peeling back, a revealing of what's already there. So these layers of the ego identity and its defenses, we start to loosen our attachments to them. What happens is we're going to be made to kind of re-experience some of the happenings in our lives, some of the things that made us lose our sense of basic trust. And everybody has multiple events that affects them to the way of that they lost touch with their innate, inherent basic trust that they were born with, their original innocence. So we're going to go back and we're going to see these events from multiple angles and see the truth of them. How did it affect me? Why did this happen? What is it here to teach me? What can I learn? Okay, so we need to maybe do an inquiry into all of these events and continue to do our inquiry. And, we think we got the answers from the inquiry, but I can assure you there's more answers. It never ends. The truth has multiple angles, and we need to see every single angle, every single way that we were affected and how we lost our basic trust because of these events in our childhood. This is a long, arduous process, and we have to trust that it's going to be good for us, that that there's a reason for it. There's a lot of, good things and bad things that happen in our lives, and the process of the unfoldment, of trusting the unfoldment, is about seeing the good and the bad. There's going to be a lot of pain and suffering, but there's also going to be a lot of joy and happiness and contentment, both ways. So the process of trusting the unfoldment basically allows us to live fully, a more full life, a more deep life. We see a more broad range than the usual of what our potential is and what we're made of, our substance, our consciousness, our DNA. There's more to life than what's on the surface. Most of the times people are living on the surface of life, the usual things and matters of society that we think are important. That's like the surface, but there's a lot more to it, a lot more to us than we think. Our potential is deep, it never ends, it's unfathomable, it's inexhaustible. So we need to see and understand the truth and the broadest range of who and what we are. Now, this identity that we've built and then its defenses, once the defenses start to come down and start to become less attached to them, that's when we start opening up. That's when the unfoldment happens. We start to reveal a little bit of a broader range of who and what we are, the depth of our feelings, the depths of our consciousness, the depths of our awareness. It's a continuum, basically. A continuum that never ends. So trusting the unfoldment is about allowing, accepting, and seeing multiple angles. The truth is a many-faceted jewel. And we have to see all of those facets and know all of them. And we have to know this enemy better than we know ourselves. So this identity of ego is protecting us. It's trying to restrict us from being aware of the full range of our humanity, because There's, again, I said there's a lot of pain and there's a lot of joy. It doesn't want to see the extremes of that range. It just wants to restrict us to a certain range. So it's like a spectrum of light. There's like ultraviolet light, some lights you can't even see, and the ego wants to restrict us only to the band of the visible light. But there's more to it, and the way we become aware of that is by doing spiritual work, trusting the unfoldment. We don't know what's going to happen, and trust is a word that a lot of people equate trust with like their relationships, and they know that they've been hurt in the past, so they don't trust anything. They don't trust anyone. And the one time when it comes time to trust, when it comes time to release those defenses that are blocking us from any pain that might happen, we won't be able to do it because we've built so many layers. We've built a system that conditions us to be defensive all the time. There's not even one instance where we can release the need to hang on to our defenses. So this is the one instance where we need to do this in spiritual work, because the openness, the unfoldment is going to leave emptiness, and we need to allow ourselves to experience that emptiness, the full range of humanity, the full range of reality. So we need to allow ourselves to be exposed, to be erased. The defenses of the identity are going to be gone. This identity of everything we've built up is going to be gone. It's going to be erased, evaporated. And we experience non-existence. And we need to experience that non-existence in its totality. That's the path. We have to trust that we don't know what's going to happen. So we have to be able to trust that there's a reason for this. This is something good is going to come out of it. It's scary. And, the defenses, without these defenses, we don't know who we are. We don't know what to do. And we become like newborn children without having a clue. And we're very vulnerable. And people don't want to feel that state of vulnerability. They won't last long most of the times. It's only maybe a little bit, maybe a minute or two here, or it won't last. So we need to build up the muscles to be able to allow ourselves to be vulnerable on the inside. Now, I'm not saying, to go out in the street and just empty out your pockets and allow people to come take money out of your hands. It's not what I'm saying. What I'm talking about is the vulnerability on the inside of us, on the interior, our defensive walls that we build up, and of this ego identity of who we think we are. The walls have to come down, the defensive. We have to allow ourselves to be vulnerable, to feel naked, to feel what it's like to live without our defenses. We have to be able to trust in reality, trust the universe, that God is going to take care of us. It's scary to do that because, we've always depended on ourselves. As from that transition from childhood to adulthood, as children, we almost intuitively know that we're going to be taken care of. We don't even have a worry, and there's no way, nothing, there's nothing there to disrupt that until some type of event happens where we see that, okay, well, maybe I have to build my own resources now. And building our own resources, we become attached to them, and we're identified with them. So we have to loosen up our identifications, loosen up our attachments, loosen our fixations, and allow the unfoldment to happen, and to just trust the unfoldment. John Dominique, the Soul Proponent.